Preparing for new threats, today and every day. Hey guys, it's Jara with Wicked Prepared. Welcome back to the channel. How is spring starting out for you? Here in Maine, we didn't have much of a winter, but now that spring has arrived, we are getting a huge snowstorm. No kidding, we're probably getting more snow in this storm than we got all rest of the winter. Kind of crazy, but that's par for the course these days. You never know what kind of crazy weather is going to hit you or when, which is just one of many reasons why it's more important now than ever to be prepared. Make sure you have the things you'll need to set yourself up for the best possible outcome in any situation. We see new threats every day, and there's far more lurking where we don't see. So wherever you are in your preparedness journey, just keep going. Today I'm sharing our latest prepper pantry haul, so let's get right into it and see what we've added to our prepper pantry and our supplies this week. All right, I'm going to start right over here on this side. First, I've got some seasonings. If you watch my hauls, you know I love seasonings, and I think they're super important to have in the prepper pantry so that you can have a lot of variety with your shelf-stable foods. I have so many seasonings, you wouldn't think there would be any that I didn't have, but I have never had tarragon. This is something I have not really used. I'm not really very familiar with, but I saw a recipe that used it, so I thought I would get some to try. I don't think I realized it came in a bag, but I'll just go ahead and put it into a jar. And next I've got this blend right here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. French is definitely not my language. But this contains tarragon and some other herbs. So it's just a nice seasoning blend that I'm going to be playing with. And then here I've got a few seasoning blends that are complete meal seasoning blends. I've got a pad thai and I've got a scampi. So I've got 3 of each because it came with 3 of each. So I'm going to try these out and see how I like them. These can be super handy for making a quick meal, even just in your everyday life. But I sometimes like to use these seasoning mixes for jar meals. It's just an easy way to season up a jar meal without having to buy a whole bunch of random powdered seasonings. And you can also use these not just in a jar meal, but just with your shelf-stable foods. Some pasta noodles or some rice noodles, some chicken or shrimp that you have canned, and whatever canned vegetables you have, and make a really nice meal out of something like this. If you've ever tried these seasoning mixes, let me know down in the comments because they're new to me. And next I've got these canned potatoes. These are whole new potatoes. I have not traditionally really liked canned potatoes very much, at least not store-bought canned potatoes. When I can my own, I tend to can them, dry can them without liquid. I buy sometimes the diced potatoes in cans like this, and I've made fried potatoes with those for breakfast, which works okay, and I have used them maybe in a few recipes, but I don't even know if I'd ever used these whole new potatoes before. And when I made my emergency meal kit, meal in a bag for St. Patrick's Day with the corned beef and cabbage dinner, I used the whole canned potatoes. And we were really impressed. I was surprised with how much we liked them and how much we liked that whole meal for such a simple and inexpensive meal. So I decided I'm going to start stocking up on these. I only had a few cans and probably somebody gave them to me. I don't even think I've ever bought them. So I got a case of these, 12 cans. And the great value obviously are from Walmart. The rest of these are from Amazon. I get a lot of my canned goods in cases from Amazon because I can usually get a pretty good deal with Subscribe and Save. If you have grocery stores with good deals near you, you might be able to do better than this. But for me, we don't have great sales at our local stores. So I got a case of Vienna bites. These are chicken Vienna bites. They're just like little chunks of Vienna sausage. It's a bigger can than the little teeny cans that the longer sausages come in. And my kids just like these for like a quick protein snack. I like them. They could be used in recipes in an emergency situation if you wanted a shelf-stable meat to go in your recipes. This one here is a vegetable steak. So it's like a vegetarian beef substitute. I really get these for my daughter because she likes to eat vegetarian, but honestly, I have a soft spot for these because I grew up as a vegetarian a lot of my childhood, and we ate these, and one of my favorite dishes that my mom made was stroganoff with these. So I do like to get them. Sometimes using a vegetarian meat substitute can sometimes be a cheaper way to get a meat into your, well, not real meat, but something like meat into your prepper pantry. But I will say that these are pretty expensive, so I don't think this is really a cheaper way to do it, but if you are a vegetarian, then this might be something you'd like to look at. Next, I've got a case of Campbell's cream of celery. I use all kinds of Campbell's cream soups for recipes, basically casseroles, you know, in creamy soups, all sorts of things. And I use basically every different variety for something, and they're pretty interchangeable. So cream of celery is what I got this time. And then I've got a case of chicken a la king. This is just good for quick, easy pantry meals. If you need a meal in an emergency, you can use some rice, instant rice, throw the chicken a la king over it. You can put an extra can of chicken in if you want more chicken. You can use these in recipes. I know when I did my Dollar Tree meals in a bag and I did the chicken gnocchi soup, somebody mentioned that they sometimes used a can of chicken a la king in a recipe like that. So lots of different things this could be used for pantry meals. And next I've got some apple cider vinegar powder. This is a pretty big bag. I use a lot of apple cider vinegar in a lot of recipes. It's an ingredient that I use pretty commonly. So when I'm making my meals in a jar or meals in a bag and I need dry ingredients, I use powdered. So I use a lot of apple cider vinegar powder to replace apple cider vinegar when I'm adapting some of my recipes. Next, I've got some granola. These are pretty big bags of granola. We go through a lot of granola, usually with yogurt. You would think that in an emergency you might not have yogurt, but I did learn how to make yogurt from my instant milk powder. I have a video on that if you want to check it out. So I got a couple more bags of these. These granolas are good until February of 2025. So they're basically good for about a year. Of course, they would last longer than that, a little bit longer than their best by date. And if you wanted to keep something like this longer, cereals usually do really well vacuum sealed or with oxygen absorbers in mason jars. We will go through this faster than that. I would aim to keep at least a 6-month supply of granola on hand. More if I could, but we're still working on our 6-month supply because like I said, we go through this pretty quickly. Next, I've got some bone broth protein powder. So this is chocolate protein powder. It's made from bone broth. It's non-GMO. It's got a lot of protein. It's got a ton of collagen in it. It's low in carbs, fairly low in carbs compared to a lot of other similar drinks. I like to store protein powder and use protein powder. It's a good thing to have in your prepper pantry as it can be a meal substitute or it can be a meal complement. You can use it to add to, you know, the calories that you need to get and the nutrition you need to get. So this has protein. You can see it's got only 4 grams of carbs, probably a little less if you take away that partial carb of fiber, and tons of collagen, which is great for your skin, for your bones, for your joints, for all sorts of things. And this one I like because it is made with bone broth. It's got, it's chocolate flavored, so you can even use this like a hot chocolate. So I'm always looking, I love hot chocolate. I'm always looking for a little bit healthier substitutes for hot chocolate. So now the next thing I've got are these couple of phone holders. They came together. It was a 2-pack, I guess. This is something that I had on my list and in my cart actually for quite a while. For this reason right here, I'd seen it as something you can use on the airplane. It hooks right over your tray table and holds your phone. And I had it on my list of travel things I wanted to get for that reason. And when we were flying home from Austin the other day, I actually saw somebody using one. And you know, sometimes when I see something in use, it makes me feel better about buying it because, you know, you can hardly tell sometimes online if it's just advertising or if it's really as good as they say. So when I see something being used, that can sometimes help me make up my mind. So I ordered 2 of these and I was actually excited when they came because I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty small and compact and it has lots of different uses. I only knew about using it on the tray table, but you can use it as, you know, you can clip it onto like a tabletop. You can use it as a stand, lots of different ways to use it. And I'm hoping, because like I mentioned, I wanted these for travel. I'm hoping that we'll be able to use, we found when we rent a car, sometimes if it doesn't have navigation and we don't have a good place to put our phone if we're using our phone for navigation. So I'm hoping this can work in the car like that as well, because we want something compact that's easy to travel with. But I have a feeling these are going to have a lot of good uses. I got one pink and one black, so we can tell them apart. And then this right here, have it upside down. This is a portable door lock. You can take this along with you. This is actually a set of 2. This can be used for like the doors in hotels for some safety when you travel. And I've been wanting to get this for a while, but the last hotel we stayed in, the little thingy that flips over that can keep the door from being pushed open. You know, if somebody opens it with the key, the little privacy, I don't know what you call those things, that was broken right off or removed. It wasn't even, we didn't even have one on our door in the last hotel. So I really would have liked to have had something like this. So I grabbed this 2-pack. They're great for travel, Airbnbs, hotels, anything like that for safety and security. And this I just picked up on clearance at Walmart. It says, as seen on TikTok and Instagram, pink sauce. I just thought this would be interesting to try. I don't really know much about it. If you know much about this, let me know. It says it has dragon fruit puree as an ingredient. So just like I like seasonings, I also like condiments and sauces because I feel like that can go a long ways towards making different meals out of the foods that you store. So, and next here I've got my freeze-dried food haul. If you don't know the benefits of freeze-dried food for your prepper pantry, you got to look into it because it's really the best stuff you can get for your prepper pantry. It's got a 25-year shelf life, most items, and the nutritional benefits are incredible. Freeze drying maintains basically almost all of the nutrition of the food. You're not going to find that anywhere else. So what I've got here is you can see there's a couple different size of cans. This one is a family can. It's about a gallon size. And then these smaller cans are pantry cans. They're about quart size. So I've got scrambled egg mix right here. This is just eggs. It's all eggs. You can use this in recipes, in baking recipes. It'll work to replace eggs. It works great for that. But the thing about this one is that it also tastes good if you just want to cook it up as scrambled eggs and just eat it as eggs or in an omelet. So that's why I get this one and this one only, because I'd rather have one product that does it all. And I did order a can of these earlier in the month, but they are on sale this month, so I had to grab another can. Because these are a more expensive item, I don't usually buy a case, although I would like to. And then back here I have a collection of the smaller pantry cans. You can see that one of these is scrambled eggs, so that's a smaller can. This is actually the March monthly specials pack. Thrive Life has a sale every month. They have new items on sale, and they have a pack where you can get one of basically every item that's on sale in the smaller can for a bigger discount. And I usually recommend these because I am a Thrive Life consultant. So I usually recommend these packs to people who are brand new to Thrive Life or brand new to freeze-dried food. You know, they're just trying different items and trying to figure out what their favorites are. If you buy this pack, you get to try a wide variety of things for less money, and then you can decide what you like and stock up in the big cans. So I never used to purchase these myself, but recently I've started discovering little instances where I would like to have the smaller cans. For example, sometimes I'm putting together a bucket or a bin that's like a week's worth of meals or 72 hours worth of meals, and I might want to include something like some milk or some eggs or a vegetable or a fruit to go along with that. These cans are great for that. If you're not really into canned meat and you want to use freeze-dried meat, which is what a lot of people prefer, that's great for like a weekly bin. And another thing I've used these for is I've used them in gift baskets. Like I've done baking themed gift baskets at the holidays and put things like the eggs, egg powder, butter powder, things like that in the basket. So I've started trying to pick up one of these monthly special packs every month. So this was the pack for March. And it's got mozzarella cheese. That's another great thing about freeze-dried food. It's really the only way you're going to get real cheese in your prepper pantry. I mean, there's Velveeta and things like that, of course, but real cheese is hard to get in a shelf-stable form. So this is going to last 25 years. It's amazing. Shredded mozzarella, chopped onions, red bell peppers. Then, of course, I've got the scrambled egg mix. I've got white rice, instant white rice, and diced tomatoes, which is another thing I use a lot. And then these chicken slices are my favorite chicken. This stuff is amazing. We use this in a lot of recipes. But typically I do stock up in the larger gallon size cans because it's usually a better value, but I do like to have a few of these smaller cans on hand. And then behind that, I've got another case of the strawberries. This is a case of the large cans, the gallon size cans. I couldn't pass up grabbing another case because 40% off. This is an amazing deal. And we go through these. We love these. The kids love to snack on these. The only thing in this can is strawberries. And you can see the nutrition. They've got a couple grams of fiber, which is awesome. They've got a lot of vitamin C. 60% of your vitamin C are in these strawberries. And this is just a food that I would not want to be without if I wasn't able to get things from the grocery store for whatever reason. So we like to keep lots of these in our food storage. Like I mentioned, the kids love them. They're healthy. I like to put them in cereal, and I also even use these in recipes like desserts. I just did my strawberry vanilla crepes that used these strawberries. I did that as a meal in a jar. If you're interested in meals in a jar that use fruits, a couple friends of mine have just done dessert recipes using freeze-dried berries. Cece over at KNC Montana Homestead did a strawberry pineapple crisp meal in a jar that was amazing looking. And Jamie over at Crunchy Hippie Mama just did she did raspberry white chocolate steamed pudding, but you could substitute strawberries in for that, and that looked amazing as well. So I will link down to those videos so you can go check them out in the description box below. Make sure you check the description for links to anything I talk about, the products I've shown, videos I mention, everything. Like I mentioned, all this freeze-dried food that I've shown you is on sale this month, and if you stick around a little bit later in the video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to save really big and get some free credit towards freeze-dried food. And next, I've got a few more seasonings. Like I mentioned, I love seasonings. These sounded amazing. I couldn't pass up trying them. There's a savory maple right here, black garlic. That sounds really good. I love garlic. And 3 onion. This has white onion, red onion, and green onion in it. So that sounded like something that I would really, really enjoy. If you've ever tried these seasonings, let me know what dishes you like to use them in, because I'm excited to come up with some things. And here's something new I just discovered. We had some family members dealing with some sore throat issues and sicknesses in the last couple months. And so I've been looking at all sorts of things for that. And I found this Propolis Immune Support. This is a throat spray. Now, propolis is something that I've known about for a while. It's something that's made by bees besides honey, but it's so good for your immune system, for your immunity. It's one of the big reasons that we wanted to start keeping bees. And so this is an immune support throat spray that I really, really wanted to try. So I'm excited about this. Next, I've got 2 of these little mini Aquaphor tubes. Well, there's 2 in each box, and I got 2 boxes. I got these from Amazon. I compared prices on Walmart and Amazon was cheaper, and I think it gave me a little bit of a deal for buying 2. And that's why I grabbed 2. But I love little tubes like this for travel or for keeping in certain kits. Aquaphor is a great skin protectant. I have a large tube upstairs in my bathroom drawer, and I have been using it for years, and you'd barely even know when it was gone. So a little tube like this is going to be perfect. I wanted to have some to bring with us when we travel, and this would also be great to throw in bug out bags, get home bags, keep in your vehicle, little first aid kits, anywhere you need a really good skin protectant. And I also use this on my lips sometimes. I grabbed a 12-pack of these Sharpies. This is just, I use these all the time, and I needed to replenish my supply. This is 12, and it's got the fine and ultra-fine tips. Sharpies like this are always part of my EDC. I like to keep them everywhere and always have one on me. You never know what you're going to have to mark. And this has the really ultra-fine tip for small writing and the regular fine tip. I love these. Next, I've got some sweet treats for shelf-stable desserts. If you want to have dessert items in your prepper pantry, which we do. I mean, sweets are important for morale and things like that. But another thing to remember is that not every emergency situation you're going to find yourself in is going to be an SHTF end of the world situation. Your emergency food could be for a simple power outage. Your emergency food could be for you lost your job and you can't afford to buy groceries. There's so many other reasons that you might use your shelf-stable emergency food. So definitely keep things on hand that you're going to want to have. This is Dream Whip. You've probably seen me use this in some of my meals in a bag for desserts. My grandmother always used to have a box of this in her cupboard. And so I started thinking about it recently. All it calls for besides the mix is milk and vanilla. And of course I have instant milk powder and powdered vanilla. So I was able to whip this up into a nice whip topping with my powdered milk, powdered vanilla, and my rotary hand beaters. So this is a great little item to have on hand. If you want, I'll put a couple of videos down below where I did use this in desserts, so you can check it out. And then this no-bake cheesecake mix, I use this a lot for shelf-stable desserts as well. It's super easy. It comes with a crust mix, which is just the graham cracker crumbs, and it comes with the cheesecake mix. I don't usually use the crumbs when I use these in shelf-stable desserts. The crumbs call for butter and some additional sugar to make the crust, so if you were going to use them, I would just sprinkle them in like a parfait and not worry about making a crust. Once again, with these, I just use a little bit of instant milk powder and some bottled water, and I can get a cheesecake tasting filling. I have used this for walking strawberry cheesecake desserts, which are great for camping, and the latest thing I used this for was a mint Oreo cheesecake for St. Patrick's Day dessert, which was amazing. So these are a really great shelf-stable dessert to have on hand if you have some instant milk powder or some box milk, some kind of shelf-stable milk. Behind here, I've got thin rice noodles. I use all different sorts of noodles for all different sorts of dishes, and so I'm always stocking up on them. These, of course, are for Asian dishes. Got 2 boxes of these. Now, like I mentioned earlier with the pad thai mix, you can use any of those Asian seasoning mixes and noodles like this, and some canned vegetables and canned proteins, and make a really great meal. And then, of course, I've got a box of Minute Instant Rice, Jasmine Rice version. This, as far as I know, only comes in this fairly small box. It's a 12-ounce box, and I get it from Amazon. It's really inexpensive, so I just grab one every once in a while. So I have this for certain Asian dishes. Minute rice, instant rice is great for emergencies because all you need is boiling water. In fact, you don't even really need to cook it. If you just pour the boiling water in and let it set, it will soak up and be ready to go. It's perfect for making your own backpacking style meals where you make them in a Mylar bag, pour in the hot water, and have a meal whenever you need it. With Amazon Subscribe and Save, you need to have 5 items in each delivery to get the best discount. And so sometimes if I need an extra item in a delivery to make sure I'm getting that best discount, I'll use something like this, a very inexpensive item that I don't mind having quite a bit of. Next, I've got some snacks and sweet treats. This is definitely important to have in your prepper pantry, like I said, for morale and things like that. And whenever I've talked to people who have been through times when they had to eat out of their food storage for an extended period of time, the one thing I always hear people say is, I wish I had more snacks. That's always what people learn from their experience. So that has taught me to make sure I have plenty of snacks. And of course, we rotate through all this food. This is not something that we put away in the basement or put away in a bin or a barrel and expect it to last for 20 years. This is stuff that we just try to keep a 6 month to a year to 2 years supply of certain foods on hand, and we do rotate through them. So this right here, this is my new little treat that I found for myself. They are sugar-free peanut butter chips, and these are really, really super yummy if you have to avoid sugar. They do have the sugar alcohols. Now, I know everybody's body is different and everybody reacts differently to things like that, so you really need to know if this is something that you could eat. But I have been really enjoying these. A serving size is like a tablespoon, and that's plenty. It tastes just like peanut butter fudge. So for a low carb sweet treat, I've been eating these. And then I've just got some different bars. So I've got these Cliff Bars, white chocolate macadamia nut. I've got a whole bunch of different, these Kind minis are really good. They're a lot of nuts. There's not a lot in them besides nuts. They're held together with some, sweet stuff, but they're actually really good, and they're great for energy and quick treats, and they're not really bad on carbs. You can see one little bar has 8 grams of carbs, but 4 grams of fiber. So if you're subtracting the fiber, these aren't bad. The Cliff Bars, on the other hand, they are a lot higher in carbs and a lot higher in calories. So this is going to give you a lot more energy. If you need something to throw in your bug out bag or to keep in your car as an emergency food in case you're stuck without food, this would be a great choice. And then back here, I just have a couple other types of bars that the kids like or that we like to keep on hand. I actually have quite a few more boxes of these granola bars, but they just didn't all fit up on the counter. So we did a big snack and granola bar restock. Like I said, we keep these on hand for snacks. We also keep them in our vehicles for emergency food in the vehicles. We usually have something like this packed in different kits. We have bug out bags, get home bags, any place where you might need a quick and easy source of calories. And next, I've got some cleaning products. That's definitely important to keep stocked. I learned through the COVID pandemic that I definitely need to have plenty of cleaning supplies on hand because that was the thing I had the hardest time finding for the longest time. I've got a couple of cleaning concentrates here. I like to use cleaning concentrates a lot. I really don't buy a lot of spray bottles of cleaner anymore. I just buy an empty spray bottle and I mix up my own with concentrates. It can save a lot of space and allow you to store a lot more cleaner if you're using concentrates. Times when I want to have disinfecting properties, I use Lysol concentrates. And then if I just want cleaning, I love these Scentsy concentrates because they have all kinds of amazing scents, and I can theme the scents to the season, which is something that I really like to do because I don't believe in buying cheap, junky things to store away for emergencies. I believe in stocking up on what you like to use so that you can rotate through it. Because a lot of people will buy just something cheap and junky and say, okay, I'm keeping this only for emergencies. And that's when things are probably going to go to waste. And it's a waste of space. If you buy things that you typically like to use and just build up an extra supply of those, that's the best way to do it in my opinion. Now, I said I don't buy many spray bottles of cleaner. This is one exception right here. I do like this Great Value cleaner with bleach. This is the really cheap one. In fact, until a couple of years ago, this was always 98 cents, and now it's $1.48, which is like a 50% price increase, which is pretty substantial, but it's still really inexpensive. And I really like this cleaner for really yucky, stinky things, like cleaning out litter boxes, for example. And when the kids were little and I had diaper pails, I used it on diaper pails, things like that. So I grabbed 6 bottles of this. I still have quite a few on hand in the basement, but this was the one thing that it was over a year that I wasn't able to find this during the COVID pandemic. So I make sure to keep plenty of this on hand because we do use quite a bit of it. And then I got some actual bleach. 2 big jugs of bleach. I used to buy my bleach in smaller jugs just because the price difference wasn't that bad per ounce. And I have a hard time with the big jugs, pouring it without splashing and making a mess. But the price has gone up so much, and it's such a big difference now to buy the bigger jugs to keep the price down. So I've been doing that and pouring them into smaller jugs. Bleach, of course, is good to have on hand, mostly for disinfectant. Disinfecting is the one real reason you want to have bleach on hand. I do use it in all of my laundry. Pretty much every load gets at least, a tablespoon or so of bleach. And that also keeps our front load machines, not getting smelly and gross. But the important thing to remember with bleach is that it doesn't have a very long shelf life. Its shelf life is really only around 6 to 9 months. Most people are surprised to find that. It's not going to necessarily go bad, but it's not going to do what you are counting on it to do anymore. It's not going to disinfect. When you buy bleach, especially for prepping purposes, you want to make sure that it is just plain bleach. It's not the low splash kind. It's not the scented kind. It's not, whatever other kind they have. You want to make sure it's just plain bleach, and you want to make sure that it does say disinfects on it and all this stuff about actually killing germs, because that means it's going to do what you want it to do. So it's good for cleaning up if there was illness or pandemic. It can be used for purifying water. This wouldn't be my first choice, but it is something that's inexpensive and most people have on hand at all times. So it's not a terrible choice as long as you keep your supply rotated. I will write the date that I purchased these on these bottles and put it away in the cellar so that we know when it was purchased. We can make sure we're using them in the order they were purchased. And it lets me keep track and make sure that I'm using everything up in the right amount of time. A much better choice to keep on hand for preparedness purposes is actually Pool Shock, which is basically going to make bleach. You can basically make bleach out of it. And it's very, very minute amounts that you need to sanitize water. I mean, you're going to mix up a gallon of bleach with, I can't remember, but it's a very small amount of Pool Shock. I'd have to look it up. It's like a 1/4 teaspoon, I think, to make a gallon of bleach. And then you use a small amount of that to purify water. So you really only need a small amount of Pool Shock to be able to treat a large, large amount of water and sanitize a large amount of other things. And so that's going to save you a lot of space if you're limited on space, especially, but also because it has a much longer shelf life than the liquid bleach. And over here, I've got a few things that this one here is probably not really emergency preparedness as much as it just is everyday being prepared for everything. I like to keep some things in my car for sort of wardrobe emergencies, that kind of thing. And I've had some pieces of clothing lately that kind of gapped and things like that. So this is basically double-sided tape that's for your clothing and your body. So you can tape something to your body, tape something to itself. And they come in these cute little metal cases. They're just strips that are already cut. And so this is going to be a good addition to my little fashion emergency kit that I keep in my car. And next I've got a bunch of these. These are empty bottles that hang off of your bag. And I got these because I like to have hand sanitizer and lotion always at the ready. Especially if we've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and if I'm in airports, I like to have hand sanitizer to sanitize my hands if I can't wash them right away. But more importantly, I like to have the lotion because anytime I wash my hands, I have to put lotion on immediately afterwards. It's just something I have to do. And when we're traveling, I wash my hands a lot. So having something that's hanging right outside of my bag so I don't have to dig into my bag, I don't have to dig into my pockets or anything like that is important. I have hand sanitizers that hang like this because those are pretty easy to find at Dollar Tree or wherever, but I've never found lotion like that. So I got some different containers so I can try to figure out what's going to work best. I didn't even realize till they arrived how differently sized they are. This one is pretty small, this one is a little bit bigger, this one seems even bigger. So I'm not sure what is going to work best for me. I'm probably going to use different ones in different situations, on different bags in different places. And so I'll probably try all of these out. But this is hopefully going to make it easier for me to have lotion right at the ready whenever I need it. Next, I've got a couple cases of canning jars. These are half-gallon size canning jars. I'm always buying canning jars. You can never have enough. The half-gallon size, not so much for canning because I haven't done much canning in this size, but this for me is more for storage of dry goods, all kinds of dry goods that I get in bags or other containers that I like to keep in these half-gallon jars. They're really, really good for airtight storage. The only thing you need to watch out for with glass jars is light. Watch out for light getting to your food because the jars are clear. Now, I wish I had realized these have gone up a lot in price lately. These used to be about $2 a jar because they were around $12 a case. Now they've gone up to over $16 a case. If I had realized my last Azure Standard pickup, somebody had half-gallon jars that they ordered from Azure Standard's brand. You might remember when Azure Standard came out with their own brand of canning jars, I was pretty excited, but because the prices were a little bit more than what I was paying for the ball jars, I've never tried them. But seeing somebody get those jars made me think about it, and I checked. And right now, the price on their case of half-gallon jars is less than the price on this Ball brand at Walmart. So had I realized, I would have ordered these from Azure Standard, but now it's going to be a few more weeks till my next Azure Standard drop. So I did grab these at Walmart, but my next ones I'll be getting from Azure Standard because they're cheaper for the case of 6. And if you don't need lids, which I have lids and bands galore around this place, so I really didn't need those. If you get them without the lids and bands, they're considerably cheaper. And then the final thing I have over here is these. They're actually called brownie pans. It's kind of like a square muffin pan. The idea with this is you could put the brownie batter into each individual well, so you have separate brownies that all have the crusty edges. But I have seen people using these for a lot more things, and I'm going to be doing some egg bites. I got this one that's like full size. It's like makes a dozen. And then I got this one that's the mini size, so it makes smaller ones. And I'm going to be doing an egg bites meal in a jar coming up, and lots of different things I could cook in these. I've seen these before, and I just recently have seen so many people saying how much they love their pans like this. So I decided to break down and get some. So I'm excited for these, and keep an eye out to see what kind of things I'm going to be cooking up in these coming up. All right, I'm going to circle back around to the freeze-dried food now because I promised to share some things with you about how to shop and how to get the best deals. Thrive Life is the company that we trust. We know their quality standards. We know their morals as a company. They say freeze-dried food is the gold standard in food storage, and Thrive Life is the gold standard in freeze-dried food. I mentioned they have a new sale every month, so I always start with the monthly specials, but 3 times a year they have really big sales, and one of those is going to be coming up next month in April. So they're going to have some good deals at the start of the month, and then later in the month will come the big sale. These sales are huge, like 3 pages worth of discounts, up to 50%, sometimes even more than that. We usually don't know the dates and details until shortly before the sale. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you're on our text alert system by texting sale to my number down at the bottom of the screen. That way, whenever there's a big sale, a flash sale, a special coupon code, or anything like that, I'll send you a text message so you don't miss out. The next thing you want to do is head on over to the website through the link down in the description box below the video. Make sure you use our link down there to get all the benefits and set up an account. That way you'll be all ready to go when the sale starts, because there is so much demand for these big sales that things can get pretty crazy. Setting up that account also gives you a refer a friend link that you can use to earn free credit to use on your order. Just make sure you log into that account whenever you're on the website and make sure that you see my name at the top of your screen. If you don't for some reason, you can text me and I'll help you out with that. Now, I mentioned things can get crazy when the big sales start, and it seems like there's always at least one item, one thing that everybody wants that ends up selling out. One thing that Thrive Life offers for their big sales is they offer 1-day early access for consultants. This is one of many reasons why I became a consultant, and we always have lots of people joining us right before, during, and after a big sale for this reason. So I anticipate quite a few people joining next month. However, this month, Thrive Life is doing something special for people who join. They're giving an extra $25 in free credit to any consultant who joins in March. This is in addition to any other free credit that you can earn. So I'm trying to catch all those people who are going to end up joining next month and get them to join this month instead to get a better deal. So if you think this might be you, if you have even the slightest inkling that this could be you, you can look in the description box below the video once again, or text EARN to my number if you just want a little more information. There's so many possibilities, whether you want to earn some extra income, a little or a lot, just depending on what you want to put into it, or if that doesn't interest you at all and you just want the benefits of early shopping days and a little bit of an extra kickback on your own purchases. Either way, it's a win-win situation. But now is the time to jump in because of the extra bonus that Thrive Life is offering. And on top of that, I'm offering some special things as well this month, including a giveaway drawing for all the consultants on my team. If you're on my team by the end of this month, you are automatically entered to win a chef pack from Thrive Life, which is kind of like the HelloFresh of freeze-dried food. You get a box of food and a collection of recipes to make with the food, and it really gives you a course in learning how to cook with freeze-dried food, which is super important if you're going to be stocking up on it for your emergency food storage. You need to know how to use it. My final tip for getting the best possible deal is always choose delivery when shopping or at checkout, because that gets you an automatic 15% off of anything that's not on sale, and it's the only way to get free shipping. I've seen a lot of people shy away from it because they think they're getting locked into something, and I totally understand that 100%. I feel the same way about companies that do that. But this isn't like that. You always have complete control. You can switch it off until you want to order again and just use it for the benefits. Or if you want to use it as a monthly plan to keep you on track and build your supply slowly over time, like so many people do, you have complete control over what you get and when you get it. So it really is all benefits and no downside. Hopefully this all makes sense and you can use these tidbits to help you save if freeze-dried food is something that you've been wanting to add to your prepper pantry or add more of to your prepper pantry. And of course, if you have any questions, just text me. I hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing everything that we added to our preps and our prepper pantry this week. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, leave me a little sprout emoji down in the comments. We are hoping for spring. And check out this video next to see how I store a week's worth of food for a family of 4 for under $100. I'm Jara with Wicked Prepared. Survive today, thrive tomorrow. We'll see you next time.